Cosmic here, and welcome back to another Union Arena versus video, joined once more by T-Mac playing his Geto deck, which he has a full breakdown on his channel, and I am playing a slightly updated Megumi combo style of deck. And I will say one of the weaknesses that we really felt of the deck as we were playing out this matchup in particular is not having the targeted removal, but also just how susceptible it is to any type of removal. And we're going to see that quite a few times in this game where T-Mac does high roll quite a bit, but believe it or not, in almost the 2 hours we spent recording, this was actually the closest match that we had because he was just on fire. And sometimes that's Union Arena. However, I think this was also still the best gameplay video to show what these two decks want to be doing. So Megumi does require a little bit of more setup. You want to make sure that you're getting your sight card to get the full value, where the Geto deck that T-Mac is playing is all about sacrificing your own board and getting some extra value. So of course we have our opening kind of startup turns. Losing our Panda hurt a lot, not only because this deck does want that early aggression, but we really needed to bring it back to the energy line on the following turn to curve out our turn just a little bit better going into this other Megumi. So again, something that would have been nice to have it stick around for another turn, but we do have another Panda to go into the raid, and then unfortunately another special trigger to remove it once more. And again, that is a massive loss for us, because as he showcases in this turn, it allows him to triple push up at 0 cost, where Panda being a double blocker really would have helped us out in this setup. So very nice aggressive push by T-Mac, realizing that we've fallen quite a bit behind, getting 2 special triggers out of the gate, so he's able to get in that extra damage and still kind of fill his board up here, get his mill plan going, and then on top of it finding another Geto. And the one thing I really want to stress about this deck in particular, we do make a comeback in this game, but a clip that I have from another game that we played at towards the end of this video, this has one of the strongest openers I think in the entire game of Union Arena, just because of how much you can pick apart your opponent's board. Now very luckily for us, we do get the special here to answer the Geto, but as we were playing the games, there are just some openers where, yes, it does require a little bit of a luck, but if they get the special trigger into the Geto to remove multiple things, it is very backbreaking. So while I do think there are some consistency issues overall, this Geto deck is definitely a lot better, and something admittedly I had missed at kind of our first look. So we are just playing a couple units here to the front, get some blockers established, and the Knowhere just being able to be a filter card is super important for this deck in particular, just to make sure we get our zeros into the trash for totality so that it becomes a damage 2. And then of course just also looking for key pieces where we're able to get our sites online. T-Mac here losing his Geto does leave his board a bit vulnerable, so yes, we took way too much damage than we needed to, but we were very lucky to hit that special. But he does in fact have another one, getting the loop going once more, and also Geto just having impact on top of all this is a really big deal. So again, one thing that this deck does struggle with as the Megumi players, you have to have 2 double energy in your backline, and here's where unfortunately another just blunder for us, as it were, because yes, we do have the 4 energy in the backline, but as you'll see on the next turn, we really just needed to get the raid target here to get that value. And if we were to leave it on the backline or raid over one of those, we'd only have 3 energy, which is not enough. So yes, there are some cases where it's okay to raid and just leave it in the backline sort of thing, but I really needed the 4 energy, so I couldn't establish my board with the other plays that I wanted to make. So I think I ended up drawing into this Megumi anyway, so I could have done the raid into it, and that's just sometimes how it is, but I couldn't, blind lead my hand into having only 3 energy and then not being able to play anything because we wanted to go into the Chimera here, right? We could have taken the extra draw with the domain expansion early on, but then it kind of limits more of our plays. So we do end up getting to go into the raid Megumi, being able to find some of the extra cards, and then still being able to do the site play that we wanted. So again, notable here is that Megumi does let you look at the top card and then play something else. It does go into play rested, which I do fix there later. But again, this is one of those times where if we would have had that 0 cost raid to set up and it would have given us more information earlier on, we could have streamlined this turn a little bit better. But unfortunately, we had to just top deck into something, and because he was able to get that removal off Geto to hit our 0 cost energy, it felt quite bad. So here we are able to discard the 0 to give totality damage to. Chimera is going to make it a 40 4,500, and then when Megumi swings, he's going to restand totality, making it a real threat. So a lot of this deck really, again, does kind of revolve around making sure that we're getting that extra power boost, because a 35 damage to ultimately is just not that surprising or impactful by itself, right? So you really are relying on that extra value there. So again, here we are going to see the block. He does get actually another unit back from it. So again, this Geto deck really being able to cycle multiple cards over and over, so you always have something to remove when you need to, is really a big strength of the deck, as well as allowing for multiple attacks when you need it. And that's something to say about yellow in general in Union Arena. At its core, both these decks are really something that just want to set up multiple attacks or be able to get extra value out of the units that they play. And the purple deck just has such higher consistency with the Dagon getting the extra card draw, where yellow is kind of really at the mercy of finding the right pieces off Megumi at the right time, which can feel a little bit bad here. This is a turn where maybe I should have ended up blocking. I think I didn't have the extra Shikigami in my hand to get the most value out of Megumi, and that's why I ended up taking the extra draw here as well. So I was just trying to make sure I get enough attackers through to apply as much pressure as possible, where I think I did actually draw into one where I could have, you know, sacrificed probably even the Great Serpent, and then still had something else to play to the board, restand it with the effect, and still get an extra attack. So here we are just going to pay into double here for the effect, just to make sure we get 2 stands, and ultimately getting 6 attacks. Unfortunately for us, he does get the Mojito raid here, which is actually massive because it's going to give him the opportunity to shrink something, which now he gets a defensive block rated in. And, you know, this is also why Yuji is so good, right? And a lot of times we talk about JJK in general, or just defensive raids. I mean, this Mojito was just an absolutely huge turn for T-Mac. So again, having the double special into the Mojito raid multiple times that we've been able to climb back into this game and try to have, you know, good board presence, just unfortunately getting a little bit unlucky with what our opponent is hitting to kind of stem off our damage. So ultimately, we could have probably saved 1 life in here just with better block sequencing and trying to play out our turns slightly differently. But ultimately, I mean, this is a good showcase of what the Megumi deck wants to be doing. And kind of at the end of the day, that's what we want to showcase here on the channel, just so you can see some of these combos play out. And then on top of that, he does get a color trigger, which allows him to get another Dagon back to get the value out of drawing. He goes into another Geto. And now we're going to have to remove 2 things because he has 2 Getos on the front line, just completely decimating our board. So the other problem here is looking at our double energy in the back. There is a point where we just sacrifice double energy, but then we can't play anything on the next turn because, again, the sites do not produce energy, or we give up the attacks. But unfortunately, he also has the idle transfiguration here, meaning we are going to lose 3 units in a single turn, and this is absolutely massive for him in closing out this game. So again, keep in mind, he's also going to get something back, which combines with Geto's effect. And then here he's just kind of rubbing it in, you know, make sure that, hey, you got 2 more that you're going to remove from Geto, and just completely kind of crush where we want to be. So again, really great game of showing, you know, what the Megumi deck wants to be doing, the kind of plays that you want to set up for, and the multiple attacks that can be very, very strong. And then also on the other side, the Geto just being kind of soul crushing with being able to get the double removal. The transfigured human can be really important just to shrink something down. And overall, you know, Megumi is something that plays in the same style to Green Bleach, where you just really have to have a lot of these units on board, where Geto is also going to be very, very strong into Green Bleach or Green Bleach style of deck. So unfortunately here, there was really nothing that we could do because we don't have enough tax to kind of get through a wall of 4Ks, and he has double impact on the next turn. So that is just a triple removal to kind of knock us out. So here's the other one I wanted to showcase, just in a turn of how most of our games went, unfortunately, in this recording, but session that we had, but just how strong it is. So he does hit the special here. We were having a joke that I kind of willed this into existence, but then also you're going to see him following up here with the very strong effects into Geto and getting multiple removal. And this is just a super, super strong start that Geto decks can pull off. And again, getting the extra removal. He goes 1 step further, the special trigger into Geto, into the Mojito to remove my target and ultimately kill 3 things in a turn. Well, unfortunately, you're just not coming back from that. But I think both these decks can be very fun to play in their own right, and definitely something I think is worth checking out. But definitely sleeve it up and let me know how it goes at your locals. And again, something that I think we definitely want to see more of in the near future, because Purple JJK is just such a fun archetype to build out that I hope people look forward to. But with it, that's it for today's video. So with that, my friends, stay safe, stay hydrated, and we'll see you in the next video.